I will either kick it over or repot it. One of the two. I just pressed record on the camera and then went to get my cup of tea and then realised that I didn't make a cup of tea. So made a cup of tea, managed to spill half of it down myself. And now I am back with my tea and I can't remember how I was going to start this video. And when I say tea, what I really mean is coffee. Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well today. It is such a beautiful morning at the time of filming this. I've got the windows open, the sun's shining. It just feels like a really productive setup for getting lots of planty things done, and that is the hope today. I've actually made myself a list for the first time in quite a long time, and I'm gonna try and get through some things that I've just been putting off for a while or just haven't got around to doing. I've got some potting up, I've got some potential pollinating, some organising, some staking, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, that is the plan for today. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. So similarly to my last video, I feel like this one is probably just going to be a little bit of everything, but hopefully we can get through lots of planty things together. We can keep each other on track a little bit, have a chat as we go, and yeah, hopefully it will be fun. So yes, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So I know I said that one of the things that I was really keen to do today was some pollinating, and actually I don't know if that's going to be possible, and I will walk you through why. So this is my Anthurium villanaurum, and it is such a beautiful Anthurium. It's got the most gorgeous veination. It's one that I'm really loving growing at the moment. It's been really easy, and the first inflorescence it's given me has been receptive, which, I mean, sometimes they can, like if they've just gone through a big period of acclimation or if they're quite a young plant, they can give you inflorescences that are essentially, I don't know, I want to say like they're like mimicking the older ones. They're not, they won't do anything. Like you could try pollinating them and it won't work. And if you're not familiar with Anthurium pollination, I have made videos on it before, so I will link them down below, giving kind of like a thorough explanation of why, when and how you do it. But in a nutshell, the reason why people pollinate, I mean any plants, but for me, in my case specifically Anthuriums, is because if you are successful, then they will produce berries, and from the berries you get seeds, and you're then able to grow lots and lots and lots of Anthuriums yourself for free, which is pretty cool. And it's also just a really fun process. I find it really fun. I love watching the berries form and develop, and I love thinking that it's something that I've managed to do myself. So yeah, I find it a very rewarding process. But that being said, I have never successfully hybridized two different species of Anthurium, which is something that I'm very, very, very keen to do. The only time that I have pollinated successfully with Anthurium before is when I pollinated my Anthurium clarinervium. I've got one of the little babies, which is a little bit dehydrated at the moment actually, but that's one of the little babies that I got from my mother plants last year, I think it was, that I harvested the berries. I did make a video on it, but I can't remember. I think it was last year. But yeah, so this time around, I'm attempting to pollinate the villanaurum with one of my, oh my God, words today, with one of my big Anthurium clarinerviums that's currently in my cabinet. And I did actually store some of the Anthurium clarinervium pollen from about 4 or 5 months ago, and I had it in the freezer in a freezer bag, and I just took a little makeup brush and I dipped it into the pollen from that, and when I saw that this one was producing stigmatic fluid, I just brushed it all over the inflorescence, and I did that every single day until I ran out of pollen. But the reason that I'm saying that I don't think it's going to be possible to do any more today is because this is the first day that there hasn't been any stigmatic fluid on the inflorescence whatsoever. And although it might still be receptive, seeing as this one gave me an inflorescence at the exact same time my other Anthurium clarinervium in my cabinet did, that one's now in the male phase. I think this one's turning. And I kind of don't want to waste the pollen that's coming off that one. So what I think I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put this one in a very bright, I mean, I'm going to keep it where I'm keeping it, but it's in a very bright, very humid spot. It's very happy there. It's giving me lovely growth. And I'm going to just monitor it really closely. The way that I will know, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, whether or not this pollination's been successful is by whether or not, firstly, this dies off. And if it doesn't, it will start to swell and then hopefully change colour, and then it will bulge and I'll be able to see seeds, and it will be very exciting. So I will keep you updated on that. But the other thing that I would quite like to do is just collect some of the pollen that's on my Anthurium clarinervium so that I can store it in the freezer for the next time around. And then hopefully, who knows, by the end of summer, have created quite a few different cool, funky hybrids. Because yeah, the last time I did it with my Anthurium clarinervium, I think I got about 90 seeds, which is insane. I've still got loads of little baby Anthurium clarinerviums all over my flat, and I just love them. And it's just such a lovely feeling to know that if literally, I mean, any kind of propagation, but when you literally create the seeds yourself, it's really cool to think that, like, I don't know, this plant would not exist if I hadn't done that 2 or 3 years ago. That's the other thing to say. It can be quite a lengthy process. So I'm not expecting it to be, I was going to say a walk in the park. I'm not expecting it to be something that's like, yep, cool, done that, on to the next. But for that reason, it's very rewarding as well. So yes, I'm going to stop waffling and I'm going to show you my Anthurium clarinervium. So yeah, this is the one that the pollen came from, and this one actually, to be honest, doesn't really need to be in the cabinet, but it just seems quite happy in here and I really like the look of it. So until I find something bigger that needs cabinet life, that's where it's staying. But yeah, as I say, this is the pollen that I took from the plant and I stored in the freezer, and it is also now giving me another inflorescence that has just gone into the male phase as well. And I don't know if you can see, you're right by the grow light, but can you see those yellow dots? That is all pollen. And I have noticed as well that this inflorescence has kind of gone like up and around the backboard. And I tried pollinating this one with Anthurium radicans pollen. I'm not sure if that's a hybrid that can actually be created or not. If any of you know, please let me know. But if it does take, and if this one has been successfully pollinated, this is going to grow quite big. So I think I probably need to get it out from there very gently, which I'm a little bit scared to do. So I think that's probably going to be the first port of call, and then I can collect some of the pollen that's on it. So I think I should probably clear some stuff off the shelves. Oh my goodness, I've got stuff in here that has been neglected and I really need to take a good look at. Yeah, one of the things also that I was really sad about is in my last video, I decided to put up 2 sections of my Drymonia chiribagana, and the new section that I potted in the pot with the old section has taken a turn for the worst and it's looking really unhappy. Just lost a leaf there. It could just be acclimation related, but I have lost pretty much all, or I'm going to lose all of those leaves, which is such a shame because they were so beautiful. The main plant looks really healthy, which is good. And seeing as this one had a really good root system on it, I am sure that it will continue to put out growth after it's adjusted, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it was a little bit too soon. I didn't feel like it was, but yeah, I'm going to give that a chop back. So I'll put that to one side. And then, yeah, the one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to disrupt. Oh, it's going to be so finicky. I don't want to bend it too much. I don't want to disrupt it too much. And I definitely don't want to break it. Oh, okay. Okay, I have done it. But because it is quite weighty, actually, I've got one of these little white pegs. I got this off Amazon, and they're great for just like clipping little pots to the backboard of your cabinet. But I think what I will probably do is actually clip the inflorescence up so that it doesn't fall down. But yeah, I think that should work pretty well. So I'm gonna just collect the pollen that's there so far. There's not a huge amount at the moment, but I'm going to take what I can. So with my brush, I know this one looks a little bit manky, but it's an arts and crafts brush, so it is clean, just doesn't look it. I'm going to take a little plastic bag, and I'm just going to hold the inflorescence over the plastic bag. Oh, there goes the brush. But there we go. I'm just going to now brush it down into the bag. You can do this with tin foil as well. You can brush it into tin foil. And as I say, I'm not going to be able to get that much just yet. But I'm going to do my best. And I'm just going to come back to this every single day as it produces more pollen and try and get more and more and more. I mean, what I can see at the bottom of the bag there, I'm not sure how well you'll be able to... There we go. You still can't see that well, but it just looks like very, very fine dust. And as I say, I will just keep going back to it every single day. It will probably stay producing pollen for about a week, sometimes a little bit longer. And to be honest, what I'm left with just there on my brush, again, I know the brush is a little bit green, so you might not be able to see, but just so that I make sure none of that goes to waste, I am in fact just going to put it on the inflorescence of my Anthurium villanaurum. As I say, this one might be out of the female phase, but there's no harm in doing it just in case she's still receptive. I am aware the kitchen is a little bit of a mess, but yeah, so got my brush and I'm just gonna wipe the pollen all over it because there is no harm in doing so. So yeah, keep everything crossed that this takes. And I might have some really cool hybrid babies at some point too. Also, something that I wanted to show you is something that has literally just arrived in the post, and it just said Claire Plant on the front of it. And I was like, have I ordered a plant? I don't think I've ordered a plant. And basically one of Ross's friends carves amazing things out of wood just as a hobby, and he's so good at it. And bless his heart, look what he has carved for me. How amazing is that? And on the back it says 100,000 subscribers because I have recently hit 100,000. I just think it's amazing. So yeah, Tom, if you are watching, thank you very much. I love it. So coming back over here, as I already have said, I would like to look at my Drymona cherry begana because it's not looking happy. But there was something else. What was it? Yeah, that oh, this is quite exciting actually. I want to have a look at my variegated Rhaphidophora tetrasperma because I just thought that all hope was lost with this plant and I thought it had reverted and nothing could be done. But look at the latest leaf. It's just given me there, despite the last one not being variegated at all. So I have currently just got this growing in sphagnum moss and I'm really keen to pot it up and to get it going, take it to the next level, and hopefully maybe it will continue to give me variegated growth. I don't know, I'm so new with this plant. But yeah, that's the first thing that was on my list. So I'm gonna pop it down here with the Drymona cherry begana. Oh my goodness, also look at how she's absolutely conked. Me and Ross have started running with her in the mornings and it just wipes her out for the day. Hey baby girl, hi, hello. Oh, tired girl, tired girl. But yeah, there's more in my cabinet as well that needs dealing with, other things in there. But for now, that is just what I'm going to start with because those are the things that were on my list. And then if there's time and I'm feeling up to it, then I can come back to the other things and start making my way through them as well. So as you can probably see behind me, the cupboard of chaos is absolutely overflowing. It is the worst it's been in a really long time. And I actually had a pretty major sort out of this from yesterday. I had a really good tidy up. I just, you know, when you've absolutely got to be in the mood to do these things sometimes. I was just in, I don't like, not that I wanted to, but I think I just let things get so bad for so long. And the last time I say we had a massive sort out and tidy up, Ross literally scrubbed the entire flat. and he made it look beautiful, and I really didn't help very much with that. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna just do it. And I blitzed through, and I felt really, really good at the end of it. But the cupboard of chaos was just one bit that I did not feel quite ready to tackle. So it's on my list for today. I might get around to it. I'm gonna see how I feel. But yeah, I'm gonna prioritize plant care initially. And I'm sitting on the floor and I'm already making a bit of a mess here. But this is the root system of my variegated Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. It's not huge, but I think it is definitely ready to go into something that's not sphagnum moss. So yeah, I'm almost thinking I might separate the sections, in fact, because I've got two here. That's the bit that's reverted, and this is the bit that's variegated. And granted, it's not highly variegated, but I think I'd quite like to grow them as separate plants. And the fun thing about the section that I've got here, I'm pretty sure it's a tissue culture plant, because the non-tissue culture variety is I believe what I've got in my collection right now. And I say that because they've got when I say very different forms, I'll put them side by side in a minute so you can see what I mean. Mine is very uniform in its growth, and all of its leaves are very much the same size. Even if it's been on a moss pole or if it's getting really high light, it doesn't really tend to change that much. Whereas I've noticed with the tissue culture sections, they're a lot more varied. They can be a little bit more unusual. Like I've got some leaves here that are split. I've got some that haven't fenestrated at all. Like that's just got one fenestration in it. And yeah, it's very different. So even though this section isn't variegated, I'm quite excited to have both kinds in my collection now. Try to divide that root system. Oh my God, it's really long actually. Look at that. So yeah, this is the non-variegated bit. And if I just put it next to my other one, which I've got just here, do you see what I mean? Like this one's very, as I say, very uniform. And they just look a little bit different. It might be hard to tell because this obviously isn't very mature yet. But yeah, I'm really excited to grow both sections. So I think what I will probably do, I'd like to grow the main variegated section. I don't actually know, to be honest. I was going to say in soil. I don't have to grow it in soil. I could absolutely grow it in semi-hydro, although I don't have any fertiliser at the moment. I think I want to grow the non-variegated section in semi-hydro, and I will probably go back in with the cup that I've been propagating them in. And I have noticed so far that this one has been much slower to grow. And I've said this before about variegated plants, like they don't contain as much chlorophyll, they can be much slower, but even the section that has reverted, I've just found it to be much slower than the Rhaphidophora that I already own. I don't know exactly why it is. I don't know if it's something to do with the genes, but yeah, usually super quick to root. And I've had this one for 6 months now, I think. And this isn't a huge amount of growth for 6 months compared to the other one, as I say. I was also going to say thank you so much for the lovely comments on my last video, because my last video, I went into it feeling a little bit all over the place and just very burnouty and not feeling like starting anything, and didn't really know where to start and just felt a little bit overwhelmed. And like the comments, when I say thank you for the comments, I don't mean like, oh, thank you for your support, although thank you for your support as well. It's just really refreshing to hear that so many of us feel the same thing. Like, I think when it comes to productivity, and again, I'll use the word burnout just because I feel like it kind of encapsulates what I'm feeling quite well. It's just really nice to know that you're not alone and things like that feel like they should be so easy. Like, I think so much of the time people are just like, oh no, you're just lazy. Just start it. Just do this, do that. Like, why are you falling behind on that? You must just be lazy. And I hate that. And I think acknowledging the fact that it isn't just laziness and that we do need to look after our mental health and we do need to take things at a pace that's right for us and not beat ourselves up and monitor our energy reserves and all this sort of stuff. It's a wonderful thing to talk about. It really is. And it really made me feel so good that so many of you were able to say me too. Because as I said in that video, doing this, making these videos, chatting about plants with you guys, this is something that I find very motivating. And I love to think of the fact that sometimes it can be motivating for you as well. It's just such a wonderful, wonderful thing. It makes me feel really good. So yeah. Right, okay, I'm gonna wash those roots off because they have still got quite a bit of moss on them. But then, as I say, I think I'm probably gonna get this one into moss. In fact, what I'll do is I'll go give the cup a little wash out as well. I'm gonna obviously, I could reuse this moss. There's not much of it. What I might do actually is I might just fill up the top of a moss pole that needs it. I've got a couple that could do with topping up, so I might just do that. So I've got as much of the moss off the roots as I possibly can. There's still a little bit on there, but not enough to worry about, to be honest. I think that should be absolutely fine. But also the reason that I said about thank you for being so nice about my last video is just because it's like, for example, today it's kind of given me a little bit of a boost to get on and do some things that I need to do, because I think there's like, I think whenever I put out a video, I want it to be a good video. I want it to be one that you guys enjoy. I don't want to just put out stuff for the sake of it. And my God, the amount of times I have filmed things and then put them onto my computer to edit and been like, no, you know what, I am not happy with that. Or I don't know, just get really overthinking it in my own head and feel like everything I produce has to be like, oh, top-notch standard. And I know that it doesn't. I know that that's not what this is about, but I have such a perfectionist brain in that sense. So yeah, I think to know that, what am I saying? Yeah, that's where I was going on my tangent. For example, today I was feeling a little bit like, oh my God, I've got so much I need to do. I don't even know where to start again. And I was just like, you know what? I was like, last time you just started and last time it worked pretty well and you found ways to articulate the weird ways you were feeling, and if you couldn't, then it was fine, you just kind of went with it. And so I kind of thought I would do the same today, and it feels quite nice. Like whenever I'm, and I don't know if the rest of you feel this as well, or some of you feel this, but sometimes when I've actually started, when I've actually got into something, it's like I'm unstoppable, and I'll power through and I'll get so much done and I will feel so fantastic. But actually getting to that point of starting is the hardest thing. I'd say like the first 5-10 minutes are the hardest thing, and then it's like you become addicted to what you're doing and you can't stop. I was saying it actually to someone in the comments. I was saying it's funny because you can have days where you're almost paralyzed, not being able to start anything at all, and then other days, like my day yesterday, where I like cleaned all this room and I was like scrubbing and I was organizing, and you have days where you accomplish more than like the average person might in a week. It's crazy. If only there was that balance. And I've said it before, like I always used to say, oh, I really struggle with balance, and that's a very simplified version of it, but yes, I do, because I am very much all or nothing. But I think sometimes just the intention to start and then giving yourself that little push and just kind of saying to yourself, does this feel right at the moment? Like give it a go. If it feels horrible, then okay, come back to it later, or find another day, or find something else to do. I'm really getting used to saying that to myself. I'm really still figuring it out and trying to regulate that within myself, because I don't know, because I've been so bad at doing it for so many years of my life, and you get stuck in such habits with things, don't you? But yeah, this section's also got a really good root system. In fact, arguably better than the other one. Oh, and it is getting ready to give a new leaf as well, which is exciting. Hopefully that will be out in the next week or so. And hopefully it will be variegated. But yeah, I'm not going to bother cleaning those roots off. I'm happy with that, bearing in mind it's going into a soily mix. And I say a soily mix because I have had this one ready mixed up. I think this is Soil Ninja's base mix, which has got lots of perlite in it and tree fern fibre. I'm pretty sure that's all it is. It looks like one that this type of plant would be happy in. Yeah, I reckon that's about right. Perhaps teetering a little bit on the big side, but I think this plant can take it. And something completely unrelated to plants, but slightly embarrassing. I did a very silly thing. I don't like, you know how everyone always says the internet listens to you? Like if I talk about something, or if I click on something, or if I look at something for a little bit too long, all of a sudden my Instagram feed is just like flooded with that thing. And I think because I've been getting a little bit more into like skincare and stuff like that in the last 6 months, I've been looking at more posts like that, and something popped up about eyebrow lamination, and I've never laminated my eyebrows. I only found out about last week what laminating an eyebrow meant. And for those of you that don't know, it basically is just this thing that can be done in order to make your eyebrows neater and like fluffier, and I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea to give it a go myself at home. And I have never been particularly good at this sort of thing, and I've never, I don't know, like the amount of times over the years when I was younger that I'd like bleach my hair and things would go awfully, and I'd say, oh my god, why didn't you go to a professional? And I could say the same now, because I have essentially melted my eyebrows. Like they feel like plastic. They feel totally awful. I have like drawn bits of them on today because they're so patchy and horrible. If anyone knows how to fix this problem, then please let me know in the comments, because I haven't got a clue. I'm just slapping some coconut oil on there and hoping for the best, but it gave Ross a giggle and I just want my eyebrows back. I have so much regret, honestly. But yes, so that is also done. I could totally get it on a moss pole, and to be honest, I probably should, shouldn't I? I did that completely without thinking. However, I've actually got a moss pole to hand that I think might be perfect for this one. I'm just going to rehydrate it because it's very dry at the moment. But yeah, that is the moss pole, and I think that will work well. Let's pop the camera down so you can actually see what I'm doing. Oh, that is way too far down. There we go. So yeah, I'm just gonna unpot what I have just potted, and I'm just gonna pop the moss pole at the base of the pot. Oh, I'm so happy that I kept this by, because this is so perfect. And then yeah, I'm gonna just probably do this in the bowl. Oh, I've just rehydrated the moss pole and it's dripping everywhere. And this is going to be quite a heavy pole for quite a small pot, so what I'll probably need to do is, after I've potted this up, put this plant into a ceramic pot or something like that. But yeah, when I plant it, I'm just going to make sure, you can see all those aerial roots there, I'm going to make sure they are positioned kind of going into the moss pole. And then I'll probably just tie them on for the time being while they attach, just to kind of hold it securely. Perfect. Okay. Cool. As I say, this is very heavy. Will you lean there? I've got this green Velcro, which is gardening Velcro, but you can just use like computer tape as well. That works quite well. I'm just going to cut. Oh, thank you. You know what that is. That's my hay fever eye drops. Bear with me. Annoyingly, that delivery actually wasn't for me. Yeah, I've been getting, just literally this last week, really, really bad hay fever. And I've been waking up in the morning and my eyes are so itchy. And I don't usually get hay fever. So yeah, I want my eye drops. Perfect. So that is what it's looking like. I'll give it a water through in a minute. And then, yeah, I'll just put it inside a heavier pot so that it's weighed down and the moss pole's not going to make it tip back quite so much. And I think I'll keep both sections in my cabinet still, just because they have been growing happily in there. I might transition them out at some point, but while they're happy and I've got the space, I may as well keep growing them like that. So yeah, I will give them a water in a moment. But the other thing to look at while I'm down here is the Drymonia cherry. I keep saying Drymonia. I can't remember if it's Drymona or Drymonia. I feel like I've been mispronouncing it today. But yeah, the Drymona cherry begonia, I think. I think what I'm probably going to do, because yeah, these leaves here, very clearly not bouncing back. I think I'm probably just going to remove all of the leaves on that section, which I would say I'll do with scissors, but they're coming away so easily without. And then I think the best way to encourage some new growth in that section there is probably to chop the top off it. I think that will just help it to put out some more growth points further down and give the plant the best chance. It's such a shame. As I say, maybe I transitioned it too soon. But then again, I don't have much experience with transitioning this plant. It's been very hardy in my experience so far, but I've never done this with it yet. So maybe I just should have taken things a little bit slower. I will know for the future. But yeah, I'm gonna literally just chop that bit off. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I will start to see some new growth on that section. I see no reason why it wouldn't give me new growth. The mother section here has been so quick to put out growth. So yeah, I will let you know and I will keep you updated. Again, let's excuse the mess. I found a nice heavy pot that I can keep this one in, but hopefully will keep it weighed down. Yeah, perfect. I think that looks really lovely actually. I really love the what colour would you call this? I guess terracotta. Like I really adore this colour against green. I think it looks so pretty. And with this one, I think I will probably just fill a little reservoir at the bottom. Yeah, if anything, that's probably a little too high. I've just done it about there. I reckon that should be all right. And yeah, obviously I have just changed out the substrate. So it's a fairly hardy plant from what I know about it. I wouldn't expect to see too much drama, but I will just make sure I'm keeping them really well monitored over the next kind of week or so. But I'm gonna just pop them into my cabinet and then, yeah, I'll let you know how they do. Just a little update for you, but I was just checking on the things in one of my prop boxes and I wanted to see how my variegated Alocasia Frydeccorms were coming along. And look at that teeny tiny, adorable little leaf. Isn't that so sweet? However, yet again, it's another ghost leaf, and I have not had a single corm that I've propagated of the variegated Alocasia Frydec have any balance of variegation yet for me. They've all come in as ghost growth. And I've got 2 more sprouting in here as well. I mean, it's too soon to tell, but they kind of look like maybe they'll have some green on them. But yeah, I really want a little bit of green. It would make me really happy. The mother plant also is doing amazingly. It's through in the bedroom at the moment, and I know, also, there we go, it's better. I know I've spoken before about if I'm finding an area of my home difficult to monitor, I'll put a plant there that I'm really excited about and that I want to go and check on a lot. So I've put my variegated Alocasia Frydec through in the bedroom because I was highly aware the bedroom plants were getting quite neglected. So now when I go through there, I'm like, must care for the Frydec, and therefore, reminder, care for the other plants as well. But yeah, I will put a clip in of her actually so that you can see her, because Ross is in a meeting through there right now, but she is so beautiful and has just given me the most gorgeous new leaf as well. But yeah, I thought that was really cute and I wanted to show you because it's just adorable. I really wanted to show you the mother plant, so I just snuck through and got it. And all of its growth is going a little bit out and everywhere at the moment, but look how well it's doing. It is sizing up ridiculously, and that is its newest leaf, which I think is just stunning. It's so pretty, and the balance of variegation is becoming more and more and more, and I'm wondering if maybe that's why I'm getting so many white corms from it, although that did start quite a while ago. Also, my god, this happened about 4 weeks ago, and I don't think I've mentioned it on here, but Ross went and lit a candle underneath the plant, and I came back and I was like, oh my god, no! And now it's got a big translucent patch on the leaf. Luckily it wasn't worse, and obviously he didn't mean to, but I was like, that is my prized plant. But luckily she's fine, and apart from that, as I say, she's doing amazingly well. Her growth is just very sporadic, I think, because I've got her under a grow light at the moment, so she's kind of much more 360 and not just facing one way, which I do really like, but obviously just kind of lifting her up to show you her, it makes it a little bit trickier. But no, she's doing very well. And the next thing on my list is to water these shelves, and it literally feels like I've just done them, but if you were here this time last year, you will remember me saying that my flat is like an attic at this time of year. When the sun hits it, believe me, I'm not complaining, it's so nice to be warm, but when the sun hits it, it boils in here so quickly, and especially for my plants that are up against the window, it means that they dry out so fast. And I didn't have these shelves this time last year. I didn't have quite as many plants up against the window. And even that was hard to monitor. So I feel like I'm going to have my work cut out this year with all of these ones here. But I don't usually do much watering content. I mean, I feel like from my perspective, it's a good way to just make watering a little bit more interesting, especially when I am doing a lot of it. Also, I was going to say, I've got my washing up bowl and my oven grill just here, and that is my makeshift transportable watering station. But yeah, I know a lot of you have asked kind of like, how do I keep on top of lots of plants? Like, what is my watering routine? Like, what does it look like? So yeah, I thought I might throw in a little bit of this from time to time here and there, if you would like to see more of it. So let me know in the comments if you would. And I've got this little one here in semi-hydro, and actually this doesn't need, I might give it a little bit, doesn't need a massive top up of its reservoir. I find these little squeegee bottles really useful for filling up reservoirs, just like little ones like this. And I was asking you guys recently what you thought this plant was, and a lot of you have said Florida Beauty. And it's obviously quite difficult to tell until it's a little bit more mature. Some of you have also said Variegated Bell Marks. I honestly don't know what it is, so I'm really, really excited to see what it turns into. And I'm not going to give you updates on all of these plants because some of them, there's not a huge amount to say about them, but I've got some exciting things going on down here, and I've got some things also that I feel like when I talk about them with you, I don't know, I take a moment to appreciate them more. Sometimes I will just kind of look at something up like, oh, that's nice. Whereas if I actually show you and I show you the detail of it, it makes me kind of go, you know what, that's actually really amazing. And it almost makes me, yeah, kind of appreciate it a little bit more. And I don't really know what is going on with this one here. So this is a little section of variegated bear paw. And this one was doing really well for a while. It was a much bigger plant and a classic Claire. I dropped it, I knocked it over and it snapped. And I just put, I think it was the top, the main stem had snapped in half, and I just put it on top of the soil in this little kind of dip tub. I'm guessing it's rooting because it's putting out growth, and I'm not doing much apart from occasionally giving it some water. I'm not even monitoring the soil particularly well, to be honest, just when it looks really dry. But yeah, oh, this is another one that I was gonna potentially try growing outside this year, actually. This is my variegated jade plant. And I've also got a non-variegated one through in the bedroom, which, oh my God, has had mealybugs so badly recently. And actually, touch wood, I know jade plants are really well known for getting mealybugs. I've never, ever had mealybugs on that plant before, so I think I've been quite lucky because it's one that I've had in my collection for probably about 5 years, 5-6 years-ish. But yeah, they are a nightmare to get rid of, so I'm kind of thinking maybe putting that one and this one out on the balcony this year. I'd really like to get the balcony looking a little bit nicer. It's still got the rug on it at the moment, which has been there now for, I want to say about 6 or 7 months, which is ridiculous. That rug needs to come in from the balcony. It's such an eyesore, and I dread to think what my neighbours must think. I also don't think this is rooting. This is the bit that snapped off my variegated Euphorbia ingens when Yoli knocked it over at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to water it. It hasn't rotted, which is good. But yeah, it just feels very wobbly and it doesn't feel like it's put down any roots at all, which is such a shame. And that reminds me, actually, in my last video when I was talking about the bits that had snapped off my my Euphorbia lactea white ghost, some of you were saying, have I thought about trying grafting with them? And I've actually, this is something I've never done. I don't think I've ever grafted 2 different types of succulents. I've kind of gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole with it, and I've been watching lots of videos of people doing it and like creating amazing looking plants. So actually it's something that I'm kind of intrigued to try. I don't know if maybe I could try it with this section here. As far as I'm aware, this has been without a nutrient supply. It hasn't had roots for 5-6 months now, so I don't know if it's going to be in a fit state, but it hasn't rotted at all and it's looking pretty healthy. If any of you have experience doing this, or you've got any tips or anything you wish you'd known sooner or anything like that, please do comment it down below and let me know, because I just think that's a really cool thing, and it's, as I say, something I haven't experimented with yet, so I think it would be quite fun. And my God, this needs potting up. This really needs potted up. This is my variegated Monstera adansonii Indonesian marble, and I put some cuttings into this little whiskey glass, and they are pushing out so much, to be honest, to the point that I'm not even gonna water and put it back on the shelf. I think this is something that I need to address fairly urgently, and I'm often quite bad. I'm so good at just like going, oh no, it'll be fine for another couple of days, I'll deal with it tomorrow, and I never actually do. So I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to put that in the middle of the floor there. I will either kick it over or repot it, one of the two. Oh my goodness, and the very dehydrated little baby Anthurium clarinervium I showed you at the beginning of this video. There you go, you can see it a little bit better. It is so cute, but yeah, it is very, 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 very dehydrated. It's also got such a good root system now. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I've got a few things here that I am definitely holding on to for the sake of it. Like this is a section of the Hoya caudata Sumatra, which is currently so, I mean, I say so dry, it's in semi-hydro, but it's very kind of thin and flimsy because I've let it dry out way too much. And I have got the mother section of this plant in my cabinet, and it's doing pretty well, to be honest, so I could pot them up together. But I think I should definitely make a choice and either get rid of this one or pot it up with the mother one, because looking after two is, it seems a bit pointless, and this one, as I say, is getting neglected. So in fact, I'm going to give it a little bit more water, but I think I'm going to put that with the Variegated Adansonii, and that can be my to-do list. Also, interestingly, this is, I think it's a Sansevieria Silver Flame or something. And it's got much darker, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because it's right up against the window. But when I first got this one, it was almost, I mean, again, in the name, it was almost completely silvery. I'm sure it was. It looks very happy and healthy, but yeah, it's just gone very, very dark. Oh, and I almost forgot my bear paw cactus as well, which is putting out an unbelievable amount of growth, considering I dropped this one, another bear paw cactus that I dropped, and I thought it was essentially doomed and I thought I'd ruined it. Oh my goodness, dropping it was honestly one of the best things I've done, because it is giving me the most insane amount of growth since I've done that. Again, just another little, I guess, reminder to be brave and chop your plants back from time to time if you're trying to encourage fuller growth. I can be so bad at doing that because I am so precious over my plants and I never want to chop them. But yeah, I would never have chopped this one had I not dropped it. So I'm glad, can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm glad that I did. Because yeah, look, all those little bear paws, they're coming up everywhere. Can't remember what type of Hoya this is. Acai Splash, something Acai Splash. I got it from Aroyd Market. And I think it's fine, but it's just not the Hoya for me. I've said this before. It's giving me lovely growth. I can actually see 2 little new leaves starting to appear on it. It's just not a Hoya that excites me. It's really not, so I think this is one that I am going to be taking to the next plant swap I go to. I'm sure someone that loves slightly more, when I say slightly more unusual Hoyas, I want to say ones that you don't see every day. I don't think personally there's anything particularly unusual looking about this one. But yeah, I'm sure it will find a good home. Got some up against the window, like I've got this Hoya Obovata, no, not Splash, Obovata Variegata, I think it is, and it's lovely, and it's giving me lovely growth, but it doesn't really need to be right over by the window. Although it appreciates being over here, I could probably make my life a little bit easier and move it back, because again, it would just mean I wouldn't have to water it quite so frequently. maybe I will put that with my to-do plants. Find a new spot for that one, because summer with plants, as I've already said, especially when you live in somewhere that gets incredibly hot, does mean that plant care kind of really ups and you have so much to do. And while I really don't mind that, because I do really enjoy it, sometimes just making your life a little bit easier by like combining plants if you've got multiples, or moving them a little bit further back so you don't have to water quite so frequently, and spacing plants out as well, so if you get pests they're not quite so crammed together. Not that I've got much space to be able to space things out, but it is just a very good idea. Oh, also I'm looking for the scissors. I think I might be sat on them, am I? Where are they? Here they are. I've just got a Alocasia leaf here that I can tell is getting ready to die back. It's just doing a cycle, which is completely normal, and I think probably happening because I haven't kept its reservoir as full as I should have done. And oh my god, this one is rooty as anything. I've got it in an old coffee container, and yeah, I thought it would be fine in this for kind of 6-8 months, and I can see it's actually starting to put out not just corms, but like, can you tell? Like there's a little baby there that's actually trying to unfurl. So maybe I need to transfer it out. I don't think this is something that I need to do like right now. The plant will definitely be fine for another few weeks, a couple of months, maybe. I'm not going to put this in my desperate pile there just for the time being. But yeah, as I say, I think I might need to do it at some point soon. And yay, this is my, ooh. Okay, not as exciting as I thought. This is my Raphidophora foraminifera. And I got this as a one-leaf cutting at one of the London plant swaps last year, and I absolutely adore this plant. I'm so excited about it. However, I've just noticed its newest leaf. Can't tell if this is just from like marks from the caterpillar or if it's actually the leaf. I don't know why you can tell. It looks a bit, can you see there? It looks a bit brown. And I'm hoping that is just because it's got a little bit stuck in the caterpillar and not anything else. But I'm just going to water this one through from the moss pole from the top. And I have actually got it in semi-hydro as well. And I know one of the questions that I get a lot from you guys is if you're using semi-hydro with a moss pole, how do you make that work? And I've said it before, but what I will do is I will just, oh my god, these roots. Whoa! I will just make sure to stop filling my moss pole at the point it meets the semi-hydro and just leave it completely empty of moss down here and fill the pole with semi-hydro instead. But look at those roots. That's insane. And all around the bottom of the moss pole as well. Really crazy. But I'm so happy that this one is doing well. Because when it matures, it gets these amazing fenestrations. Not in the same way as Monstera, for example. It doesn't split from the outside, it kind of splits from the inside, like by the main vein that runs down the individual leaves, and it just looks so cool. So yeah, I mean, it's getting very good light in the position it's in. And this is one that I am not going to move back from the window. Even if it could survive, I want to try and get this one to do more exciting things for me, so it is staying put where it is. The one thing I could probably do now is trim back the original leaf just here. Just because it's starting to yellow and look a little bit raggedy, and it's not really doing the plant any favours. So I think I'm going to do that. Yeah. And actually I had used an old hairpin to just help attach the main stem to the moss pole, and I'm just taking that out now because, to be honest, it's gripping on absolutely fine. I don't think it needs it anymore. But that is now what it's looking like, and hopefully it continues to grow beautifully for me because I love it so much. This one really needs a pot upgrade as well. This is my Anthurium avartifolium, and it's just given me that leaf there, which is so pretty, but it's in a really small pot at the moment, and really I think this needs to be in a tower pot. So I think maybe this is also going to go into the to-do pile just here. I'm kind of wondering, should I stick to my list and water the whole shelf, or should I tackle my to-do pile before it gets any bigger? I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't make up my mind. However, I do think that most of the stuff on the next couple of shelves is fairly straightforward, so maybe I'll whiz through the watering and then tackle the to-do pile. The one I'm watering here is one of the sections of my Hoya latifolia sarawak. This is the one that I'm propagating in soil. And it's hard to tell whether or not this one... Ooh, is that a root? No. It's hard to tell whether or not this section's actually rooted yet. The one that I've propped in semi-hydro has, oh my god, rooted beyond belief. Like, it's giving me the most insane roots, and it's getting ready to give me new growth as well. The mother plant, since I gave it a chop back, the mother section, should I say, the main bit that was already rooted, that's put out a massive long tendril that's got 2 new leaves on it. And this is the one bit that's been a little bit slower to get moving. And it feels really, really kind of rigid and firm still. I don't, like, it doesn't seem unhappy. I just can't see any roots. Although I think I can feel a little bit of resistance, which suggests it is rooting. But yeah, I'm so excited to eventually be able to pot all of this plant back up together, because I love it so much. And I'm not gonna lie, I do miss my big plants of it, even though it was definitely a good decision in doing it, in chopping it up and kind of helping to stimulate some new growth. I miss it and I want it back. And I haven't seen anything pesty or anything to worry about on those shelves so far, so I am just gonna reuse my water. To be honest, I don't really need to at the moment because this isn't fertilised water, this is just normal tap water, but I am lazy and I can't be bothered to go to the tap. Also, Ross made this little terrarium the other day. How pretty is that? We were in a charity shop recently and we found loads of nice little bottles, and I thought this one was so pretty, and I love the little stopper as well. I'm actually pretty sure the stopper isn't meant for this bottle because it doesn't quite fit, but it does fit enough for it to be pretty much airtight. We've just got some little sections of Fittonia in there. Looks so nice. And Peperomia Hope just going crazy right now. This one is loving life. Again, another one that I'm very glad I made the chop with. Oh my goodness, and I know I said recently that my Gymnocalycium is getting ready to flower. Look at the size of that bud. Isn't that insane? I have no idea what this one's flowers look like. But yeah, it's definitely going to happen. I'm sure it is. It looks like it's about ready to pop. So yeah, I will make sure to take a picture of that or include it in a video if I can, so that you can see what it looks like, because it just is amazing. I honestly adore this little cactus so much. I genuinely want to get more of them. I think they're just incredible. Yeah, I'm slightly obsessed with it at the moment. And then coming up to this top shelf, haven't actually got a huge amount up here at the moment, to be honest. I've got a couple of struggle plants actually. I'll talk you through them in a minute. just watered my Anthurium vitarifolium, which just seems to be growing like a weed at the moment. It's putting out growth in literally every single direction, and I absolutely love it actually. This is another one that I got at the beginning of the year. And again, was sent to me by one of you guys, so thank you so much. This is before I had my Pallidiflorum, and I got a message from you just saying that it's got similar vibes to the Pallidiflorum, and you thought I'd really like it, and I do. I honestly love it. I love it so much. This is not one of the struggle ones. This one has been so easy for me. Oh, in fact, you know what? All of the other ones on this shelf now I would consider slight struggle plants. I'm just going to take this down. Also, I found this in a charity shop. Don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. It's a weird shape, but I thought maybe I could use it for something planty, just because I really liked it. I'm not sure what yet, so if you have any ideas, let me know. But the Ficus shavariana, this one, I don't know, I really want to love this plant. I really want to love this plant, but I've hacked it back a few times now and it just never seems that happy. Like if you look down there, that leaf just looks, oh, there we go, miserable. Oh, in fact, quite a few lower leaves are falling off. What's going on here? Yeah, I mean, it definitely needs a water. It just always looks a bit shriveled, and like that latest leaf it gave me. Oh, you can see it's just a bit warped and mangled. I mean, to be honest, I might put this one to one side. I can't see any actual pests, but it's behaving in the way that a plant does when it's got pests. So I think I might get this one into the shower and give it a pest treatment just to eliminate, because I don't know what it's doing. It hasn't seemed happy for a while now. Oh my goodness, one of my neighbours has such a loud car. And this is the Anthurium magnificum that I chopped up in my last video with you. I'm just going to give this one a water through because again it's got so dry already. And one of the, I mean, I don't want to call this one a struggle one because I think I am turning a corner with it. But one that I'm still getting my head around, the Anthurium regal. And this one I can see has still got quite a lot of moisture in the soil. If I look at the side of the pot, you can see it has got some moisture in there, but it is looking quite droopy and floppy, and it's kind of flopping over towards the window. I mean, I'm going to give it a little drink. It does need more water than I initially thought. I think I was massively underwatering it before, and that's why it wasn't particularly happy. But yeah, I'm going to give it a drink and hope that it perks up. And then this one, this is the Anthurium angamarcanum, I think. And this is the leaf that it came with, and obviously this one is not doing great. I can absolutely chop this back. But this is the only leaf it's given me in the time of me owning it, and it's tiny. It's absolutely tiny. And I know it's a vining Anthurium. It's one that I'm sure would appreciate being on a moss pole. Just for the time being, I've essentially decided to air layer it with tree fern fibre. And maybe that's not the right thing for it. It feels like it physically feels like quite a finicky Anthurium. And I know that might sound like a silly thing to say, but there's certain types of Anthurium that just feel a little bit different to like the robust. But then I guess the regal falls into that category. For me, I just find it a little bit trickier, and this does feel like one that is going to be a little bit of a challenge for me, which is good because I like an Anthurium challenge and I'm learning a lot about them at the moment. But yeah, it's one that I definitely haven't got my head around just yet. In fact, I'm going to chop that leaf off now, I think. Bye-bye. Oh, look how small and diddy it is now. I should really get this one on a moss pole. However, I don't have any spare moss poles now, and I don't have any other moss pole making, I was going to say ingredients, materials. I need to order some. So just for the time being, I'm not going to put this one in the pile of things that I need to do, but it is going to be going on my list because it does need attention. Okay, so that is all of this section watered, and that is one massive thing that was on my to-do list that I have been putting off, so it feels good to have it done. Granted, it is just one section, but it's an important one and it's got some of my favourite plants on it, so glad to have that done. I am now also going to tackle everything I put into the to-do pile just to get it done. I don't think I'm going to get to the cupboard of chaos today. I don't know, I'm going to see how I feel once I've done that, but I feel like that takes priority. Does it take priority? Yeah. So I thought I would mix things up again and set myself up on the floor over here now because I can't make up my mind today and I just don't want to be at the table. So I brought the mother, when I say mother, one of the, oh, is that a mealybug? No, it's just fluff. I thought that was a mealybug. The section that I assume at some point I got this from. This is the bigger bit of my Hoya caudata Sumatra. And to be honest, I do need to get it onto a trellis. It's also just growing in pure sphagnum moss at the moment and is very, very rooty. And I could sit and detangle the entire thing now to pot this bit up, but I think I'm going to let this rehydrate in semi-hydro first, and then in the next couple of days probably pot them together, probably get this one out of sphagnum moss, this one out of semi-hydro, or in fact pot them both together in semi-hydro, maybe. But yeah, I'm not going to put them away. I'm going to put them just here in front of the TV so I have to look at them and I don't forget. And then for the Variegated Monstera adansonii, the Indonesian marble, before I had this one growing on a moss pole and I managed to get some really big leaves with it actually, and it was lovely. But I don't know why, like there was nothing wrong with the plant that prompted me to chop it up the last time. I just wasn't a fan of the way it was growing in my collection, and I can't put my finger on exactly why that was. But I'm kind of thinking that I might just let it continue to grow wild without a support this time, at least initially. And I've got this plastic drinking cup and I'm kind of thinking I might continue the semi-hydro in this. And then I can decide further down the line what I want to do with it. But the plant's growing perfectly happy like this. I know it's not sizing up massively, but to be honest, I don't really care about that. I just am enjoying the shapes and the kind of lovely marbly patterns within its foliage. So that's what I think I'm gonna do. I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna obviously reuse what it's in at the moment, but just use some chunkier semi-hydro and just pack it out that way. I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to do a smooth transfer over to the new container. I'm not sure I will be able to, but let's give it a go. Oh, I have a feeling it's going to go everywhere. In fact, it's so rooty in there. I might need to just try and loosen it a little bit. Because the top of this glass, because it obviously wasn't made for plant propagation, is thinner than the bottom. Ooh, there we go. Yeah, my God, look at those roots. And the only reason they're a little bit green, that's just some algae that's built up because I have been using a transparent container and obviously keeping this filled with water and right by sunlight. You could combat that by using a different coloured glass. You could use, for example, amber. That's why a lot of people use amber coloured containers and jars and bottles and stuff to propagate in. The plant seems happy and healthy, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm just going to pot it straight into its new substrate. There we go, and to be honest, that's probably a little bit taller than necessary for this plant, but considering the size of the root system, I think this just allows space for it to really be able to spread and still keep the plant happy. And also because I'm kind of thinking I might put it just here by my TV, I quite like the fact that it offers a little bit of height. I could put it behind some of my plants. Like, I don't know how you'll be able to see, but I could technically put it like, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. But I could, what am I doing? I have no clue. I need to move some stuff around and have a think. But I've got a lot of things that are very small and kind of close to ground level, I think is what I'm saying, that I could use it to kind of add a little bit of balance in the space. Because I think it looks very pretty. And yeah, then I will just keep its water reservoir filled to probably around about where that line is actually. It's going to be quite nice to monitor because I've actually got a line of where I need to fill to. And because I've got my watering can here, I can just do that straight away. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. What I'll probably do initially is keep this one on the shelf where it was before, just so that it can adjust, because obviously I don't want to change up too much too quickly. But in the next week or two, I'll probably start moving it potentially over here. I don't know why I'm thinking over here. I just quite like the idea of having it over here. But then the other one I wanted to look at was my Anthurium avartifolium. And this is one I don't think, have I shown it on my channel yet? I don't know. It's one of my secret Anthuriums. And one that I would really like to pot size up. I'm going to have a look at the root system first, just to make sure. But obviously it is in quite a small pot and it's very top heavy. So it does need a little more stability. And without actually looking at the roots, this is kind of what I'm thinking for it. So I'm going to do it over that pot. I wanted to use a tall tower pot for this, but I actually don't think I've got any more. And the tower pots, actually, a lot of you have asked me where I get my tower pots from. And I found them all over the place. There's actually, at my local garden centre, they sell them, so I'm quite lucky. But Eastern Tropicals, which in fact is also where I got this plant from. They, in the UK, are amazing for tower pots. Occasionally you'll see them pop up on Amazon as well. I went through a phase of getting loads of tower pots on Amazon, but now they've been saying sold out for absolutely ages, which is a shame. I'm not sure. Yeah, as I say, Eastern Tropicals has been my go-to, and oh my goodness, they are honestly, I think, like, I will speak about them more when I get to my Anthurium video at some point, because I feel like they are one of the best kept secrets in the UK houseplant world. They are absolutely amazing. I found so many incredible things there, from plants to substrates to pots, and just like the little accessories that you don't necessarily think you need, but then as soon as you have them, you're like, oh my god, how did I ever live without this thing? So yeah, I think they are so awesome. This is also not sponsored whatsoever. I just think they're amazing. And the only reason I haven't raved about them more is simply because, selfishly, I kind of want to keep them all to myself. But no, you should absolutely check them out because they are so fantastic. Cool. Did I even show you the root system of that plant? I don't know if I did. I'm so sorry, I did that in such a rush. But yeah, that took all of 2 seconds, but I just feel like now it's going to have more room to spread its roots. It's definitely more of a solid base for a plant that, like, it might not look that robust, but like it is so, like, I don't know, beefy. It's a really, really beefy Anthurium. And it seems fairly quick to grow so far in my time of owning it. So I'm hoping this will just help to encourage it to size up. But yeah, I could carry on. I always say that at the end of these videos. Like, I always get to the point I'm like, should I carry on? But really, the next thing that I've written down is Cupboard of Chaos. And I just don't think I have that in me today. I think it's going to take at least an hour to do. And I've no idea how long I've been filming for, but I feel like I've got through quite a lot. So yeah, as always, if you were doing stuff along with me, I really, really hope you've got loads done. Let me know in the comments below what you have got done, whether or not it's plant related. It could be something completely different, but I hope you've got something done at least. And yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.